Hello, and welcome to this week's live stream, coming to you from SSUC, Spiritual Seekers, United in Community. We are so glad that you've decided to join us for this time and experience with one another. This time that we've been exploring the geographies of our hearts, making our way through different landscapes. You've joined us through mountains and forests, through borders and through rock beds, through so many different geographies. And this week, we invite you to come with us. Come with us to the prairies. For many of you, you don't have far to go. For others of you, you may have a little trip to take. But we welcome all of you on this journey to the prairie. And as we speak and sing, as we gather our hearts together in intention and prayer, as we reflect on wisdom through the ages and from today, we know that we gather together as community who are joined together in diversity, in common quest for our highest humanity. So wherever you happen to be, whether you're in the Edmonton area, whether you're in Toronto, whether you're in inland BC, whether you're in Saskatoon, or somewhere in between or further away, welcome to this time in community together. My name is Christopher New, and I'm joined by my teammate Nancy Steeves. And together here in our building in Southwest Edmonton, we are joined by a crew of wonderful and talented people this morning. Our musicians, Deb and Catherine. Our singers, Pam and Pam. And in our booth, we have Brett and Andrea. We are so grateful for the ways that we can contribute together, work together, use our talents and our gifts and just our being to bring this time to you today. And you are a part of that as well, wherever you gather today. Like we always do, it's important for us to recognize where we are, each of us. Whether we're here in this room, whether you are in your living room or your kitchen, your bedroom, your study, we all are grounded. So let's take this moment to ground ourselves in the place we are. It's the only way we can take the journeys that we're taking with one another, is if we start with our feet planted, our bodies rooted to the places that we are, and that is recognizing, too, the long history of this land. So we recognize the wisdom, the teachings, the presence of all the first peoples of our lands. For us here, it's Treaty 6 territory. And we recognize all those who have called this place home, who have called this place their traveling routes. Wherever you happen to be, may you take a moment and ground yourself and root yourself in the great history, recognizing the joy and the pain that comes with that shared history of our land. And the hope, too, that we may journey together through these geographies with one another as partners, healing along the way. As we gather together, we are part of an important ritual, the lighting of our candles, whether we're here at home, whether you've got a tea light or a taper, whether you've got a big pillar candle or whether you might just light the flashlight on your phone. It doesn't matter. We light our lights so that we can be connected with each other. And thank you for those of you who have submitted your photos. We invite you to continue submitting them if you haven't done so already. To Sylvia and Simone, thank you so much for submitting this picture that you've shared of your candle that you'll be lighting with us today. And so as we light our candles, recognize that the light is important in our journeys. It ties us together in the wonder that is this burning flame. All lights, one, connected to each other, as we are, separate but connected in community, in purpose, in search for meaning. With our lights lit, we gather as a community, and we are joyous for it.
We've taken time to orient ourselves in place and in time. We also take this moment to reorient ourselves to our core values, to our deep love and compassion, to our hope to live with attention and intention. And so, as we do each time we gather, we take a moment to speak together in our place where we are, our prayer, our way of strengthening our intentions. As we journey through life's different landscapes, may we recognize the wisdom in each one and the echoes of each vista in our hearts. May our understandings be deepened. May our visions be widened. May our actions be expanded. May our awareness be heightened. We seek the boldness and strength to live our highest values with every twist along this journey's path, in hopes that we might move the world toward peace, justice, and love.
It's a song of praise for the
want to share a wonderful story together this morning. It's called The Big Umbrella. It's written by a mother-daughter team, Amy June Bates, along with her daughter, Juniper, when Juniper was in 7th grade. As we reflect on the expansive big sky land of Prairie, a story of the big umbrella. Amy June Bates and Juniper Bates came up with the idea for this story while they were sharing an umbrella in a rainstorm. By the front door, there is an umbrella. It's a big, big, friendly umbrella. It likes to help. It likes to spread its arms wide. It loves to give shelter. It loves to gather people in. Doesn't matter if you're tall or hairy or plaid. It doesn't matter how many legs you have. Some people worry there won't be enough room under the big umbrella. But the amazing thing is, there is. There is always room. It's not just under an umbrella that there can be room. We live in ways that make room for one another, especially in this time of keeping each other safe, giving space, making space, holding space. We live in ways that make room for each of us and for all of us.
Even though I was born and raised in Alberta, I've always been a city boy. Even in my travels as a child and as a teenager, we always seemed to go west to BC, which is where we had summer traditions and places we would return to year after year. So really, for a good many years, what I knew of the prairies was really tiny. It was that little stretch of land after you leave the industrial area of the city's west end and before you got to the fairly dense forest, which gently turns into foothills and then into mountains and then, the rolling hills and lakes of BC, and then, before you know it, the ocean. Sure, there was the odd trip to Calgary that introduced me to straight roads of the prairies, but I didn't realize that that was nothing compared to what was east of me. It wasn't really until moving out of the city, driving east, experiencing the drive through Saskatchewan, through Montana, through North Dakota, that I really, really appreciated the vastness and the openness of the prairie. And it really is that sky that takes up the real estate of your view. If you painted what you saw out your windshield, it would be 10% land, I think, and 90% sky. That trip impressed on me the endless horizon, the borderless infinity of the width of this land. Shunryu Suzuki, 20th century Zen Buddhist teacher, wrote this great metaphor that I think is worth sharing. The sky has substance, gases, dust, water, but it is open to accepting everything. This empty sky allows other things, like plants to grow, birds to fly in it, insects to swarm and pollinate in it. Our minds should be like the sky, accepting things as they are, not discriminating. We too often say, this is beautiful, or this is not beautiful. I like this person, or I don't like this person. Instead, we can be empty. We can treat everything like it's part of our big family. We can treat anything as if they are our own. They are a part of us. They are our eyes, our ears, our minds, our hearts, our hands and feet. It's this big, open sky approach to living. The receptivity alongside activity, the importance of being alongside doing, being and doing together. Our culture pushes us really to be active all the time. We're made to feel that if we're not being productive at every moment, then we're lazy. But life doesn't work like that. Even nature doesn't work like that. Fallow periods are required for incubating ideas, for getting to know yourself. Between seed and sprout, darkness. In order to live an expansive life, we're going to experience some static times, says Ossifort Russell. Sometimes dark and frustrating, but always between things. Maybe a whole year, maybe longer. Receptivity is about learning to wait with aching, open arms, rather than demanding an answer, rather than prematurely heading off down a path of action before we know our answer. Receptivity is waiting in a state of openness and curiosity, during sometimes long periods of being in the unknown, she writes. And if that doesn't echo for us in this year that we've had, in this time of waiting, this period of being in the unknown, then let's listen to her further. She writes, waiting and being receptive can be painful, and they're vital to living expansively. A receptivity mindset doesn't mean that we wait around being idle. It means we move through our activities while holding an open question in our mind and body and noticing small glimmers, maybe radical insights that flow in to meet that question. As I read her words, I'm reminded of what we've learned over years and years of walking the labyrinth. Sometimes we hold a question as we enter it. Sometimes we just hold an idea, a challenge in our minds as we walk, and we allow the space of that walk to address the question. Finally, she writes, these periods of not knowing and asking are just as important as periods of single-minded, passionate activity. I think we're given a bit of a boost, a bit of wisdom to bring some meaning and purpose to our time of waiting, our time of unknowing. It's this challenge to live like an open sky, with arms open. We describe ourselves as a community here at SSUC as expansive. We talk about exploring an expansive spirituality. And I think this is the perfect time when we're on the prairie together to talk about what we might mean by that exactly. What is it to live expansively? Expansive living is about deep and wide. It's about being open to grow in different directions. And perhaps two of the most important of those directions is deep and wide. Imagine water in a well. We understand that although we get our water from that well, we also understand that the well doesn't create the water. The water doesn't come from the well. It's a mere stopping point. It's a mere rest stop on the water's journey. The Dalai Lama says this: dig your well deeply and drink from it profusely. Many of us have grown up in the Christian tradition, many of us not. But as a community, we grow from where our roots are planted. I'm rooted in the Christian tradition. I may start there, but it doesn't mean that I stay there, or I end there, or that that is all there is to my experience. For me, it's where my understanding of community came from. It's where, surrounded by a bunch of caring adults, I learned about mentorship, where I learned about compassion, where I learned the stories that shaped me as a person who might, for lack of a better term, seek to do unto others as they would do unto me. I want to dig my well deeply and drink from it profusely. I want to know the depth of meaning that those teachings can have for me. That those teachings of early communities, of a teacher infused with love and wanting to share it and teach it and live it. because there's great wisdom there. So I need to rest with that wisdom. Wrestle with it. Come to know it more and more fully. That's where I came from. And we all have a place where we came from. There is depth for all of us in those deep wells, wherever that happens to be. But deep alone isn't expansive. I'm showing you this simple construction of the water cycle. Because I want to be reminded that to be expansive, I can't only dig down. I also want to be open to different directions. I want to live with a wideness of the prairie sky too. The water coming out of our well isn't coming from something only in the well. It's coming from something beyond the water in the well itself. Just as Christianity didn't stay put from the teachings and parables of a rural Palestinian itinerant teacher, neither can I stay in one place. To be expansive means I'd like to broaden my thinking, to learn from more than one narrow tradition, to understand how we're linked to many traditions and joined to all of humanity in their common quest for a deep and wide life. I wish to know that there's more than just the water in my well. I want to know that it's related and one with all water, and I know there are many wells and many aquifers, reservoirs, many rivers, streams, many oceans, and many rains that feed them all. And so we're inspired by this way of thinking and living expansively. This wide open space to guide our quest for our living. In this quest, I might live this expansiveness by trying always to consider other perspectives or to try out new experiences. And I might ask questions and actively search for information that challenges my beliefs and understandings. I might recognize that in community, and in the community that is our global experience, other people should be free to express their beliefs and arguments, even if they don't jive with mine. So to be expansive means to seek wisdom wherever it may come from, and knowing that along the way, we might find ideologies, wisdom, ideas that aren't necessarily sympathetic to our own. And when that happens, to be expansive means I will hold fast to the effort to understand, if not the ideas, then the factors that may have led to them. And in this way, I'm going to engage each person, each thought, each idea with integrity. Knowing that I draw on the deep, deep well that I have dug of past and present wisdom, even as it evolves, and even as I spread more and more widely to experience the world as it is. I want to share a Sufi wisdom story with you. A neighbor found the master on hands and knees and asked, "What are you searching for, master?" "My key," he replied. So both of them got on their knees to search. And after a while, the neighbor said, "Where did you lose it?" The master replied, "At home." "At home? Good Lord, then why are you searching here?" said the neighbor. And the master replied, "Because it's brighter here." Some might think that as they read this story, they say, "Yeah, that makes sense. Why are you searching for what you seek somewhere other than where you've lost it? It makes sense to search for your key in the place you last had it." That's the logical side of us talking. That's our heads talking. But what if we expand into our hearts and listen to this story as the spiritual tale that it is, knowing that spiritual stories and parables are not talking about the literal details. They're not engaging our logical mind. They're engaging our hearts. They're engaging our deep, deep wisdom. So hear this story as the tale that it is, told by a spiritual master who wants us to see inner wisdom and self-understanding. What we see is that the seeker on the floor in the wrong place isn't so wrong after all. Why wouldn't we search for what we seek in the brightest places? Why would we not look for what we seek in the places that give us the most illumination? The glimpses into our brightest humanity, where the sun shines on what is good, what is true, what is purposeful, what is meaningful. The wisdom that is as deep and wide as possible, wherever that happens to be. That's where we ought to search. So with gratitude to the Sufi Muslim tradition, to Zen Buddhist wisdom, to the depth of our own traditions, all of which we've shared today, then may we find wisdom for our living in each of them, with an eye toward whatever we find, that there will be light there when we journey on this expansive path. And we can also share gratitude to the geography of the prairie, which we can see echoed in our hearts when we live with wide open space, when we approach life with the depth and the width of the prairie sky, open arms to it all. And so may it be for us, open, seeking, expansive, in so many ways, with eyes toward the sky.
It's love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. No, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. What can we share? Is this divine? It's a lifetime. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Share your love, everyone.
Thank you so much, Deb and Pam and Chris on the piano. What could the world need more than our love? I have a few invitations to share with you, an opportunity to explore and go a little deeper with our reflections on Prairie, on living and loving deeply and widely, exploring our expansive spirituality, an opportunity to have a time with one another online, but in a circle way kind of process, hosted by Joyce and Claire. Shortly after our gathering ends this morning at around 11:15, you'll find the Zoom link on our website, or if you're not able to locate it and need some help, please just send us an email here to Chris or myself, and we'll be happy to get that link to you. Also, on Tuesday evening, a wonderful opportunity for some learning. We're continuing our series that's hosted by SSUC Saskatoon, our Tuesday topics, the winter season. And this week we're exploring white supremacy and urban Indigenous experience. We'll have the wisdom and benefit of Sheldon Elter, a Métis actor, writer, stand-up comic, musician, and director from Northern Alberta, who will be with us to share his experiences, his insight, ways to help us expand practicing allyship in everyday life. Tuesday night, March the 9th, 6:30 in Alberta, 7:30 Central Time. Please feel free to sign in 10 minutes early to have an opportunity to chat and have conversation and visit with one another. And once again, the link is on our website. We are in the pie business this week. We have 23 pies out there that we are looking for you to buy. We've got a fair bit of action happening. Here's a little more detail for you on your screen. As we come to National Affirming Pie Day on March 14th, we have an auction, a silent auction online, everything from banana cream pies to apple crisp to Saskatoon pie. So we encourage you to get online and to participate with your bids, to have a little bit of fun and to help us raise some monies to support a wonderful organization in the inner city of Edmonton, CHU, and to share those proceeds here with SSUC, an opportunity to support LGBTQ2S plus youth and young adults in a drop-in and support center that is offered to them that we know well, and support the work of our friend Corey Wyness. There are easy ways to get online to bid. You'll find all of those in your e-messenger this week. If the only thing that is preventing you from participating is the technology, we'd like to help you participate. If you would like to purchase a pie and can't find an easy way to navigate your way into the site to bid, please email Chris or myself, and we will be happy to help you find your way to one of these delicious pies that you can enjoy. And you can reach us at our regular emails, which you'll find on the screen, and we will be happy to find someone who will do your bidding and will find for you a delectable dessert that you can enjoy next weekend. So here's your opportunity. One more look at the temptation. And despite the Lenten messages to yield not to temptation, we're inviting you to yield to your temptations and to get on and bid, help us raise monies. So live expansively, Chris said. You know, whether it's your waist that will expand or whatever needs to expand to help us expand our dollars. We are looking for you to participate. There's 64 bids out there already, and we've been raising some good funds, so please go online and have a look, or be in touch with us and we'll help you know what's there and what you could bid on. And speaking of food, we've been assisting Inner City Pastoral Ministry this weekend, Community of Emmanuel. Each year on the first Sunday in March, we provide lunch for that inner city community. It's been adapted now for the COVID realities. So instead of serving sandwiches that have been prepared here, we packed bagged lunches yesterday here in the space that were delivered by Donna Maskell this morning and will be distributed to inner city folk out of Bissell Center West today through Inner City Pastoral Ministry. We're so grateful to Rochelle and Omer and Zaid, who did our shopping for us, to Matthew and Paige and Edison, Amanda, Sally, Liam and Caitlin, who packed the lunches up, and Donna, who delivered them. So we're grateful to participate in this outreach ministry, even in these COVID times. And the support for this lunch, the grocery support, was provided through our outreach budget. Thank you for all the ways that you support what we are able to be part of here at SSUC. If you're able to support us financially, you'll see on your screen a number of ways to do that. Whatever way is easiest for you, we invite whatever contributions you are able to make to the ongoing work of this community in sharing an expansive spirituality, in reaching out for peace and justice in our community and beyond our community.
As we say goodbye to each other for another period of time, we know that our light remains. Yes, it changes. Yes, it may be lit or not. But even as we extinguish it, this energy surrounds us. It is not lost. So too does the connection between us. It isn't lost either, because we are connected by more than physical space, by more than shared gathering times. We are connected by love and light, by shared connecting values, by the work that we do together. And so in this expansive way, may we continue to live deeply and widely. May it bring us wisdom we need for today, for the coming days. And until we see each other again, may that love be ours. May we share it with each other and all we can. And may we be well. Be well, stay connected, and see you next time.